So I learned in one of my 12-step programs about museum states. And those are states, emotional states from the past that we just get addicted to. Life is a struggle. Okay, that's struggleaholic. Just addicted to struggle. Everything has to be hard. If it's worthwhile, it's going to take a lot of effort. Struggleaholic, addicted to struggling. That's one museum state I have. Another one is just utter hopelessness. Doesn't matter. No matter what I do, it doesn't matter. The odds are stacked against me. Remember that one? Or, life is so unfair. That was a state that I used to get into. And then I'd get into the giddy state of I'm the new sheriff in town. I'm going to set the rules from here on in. Or I'll never understand this. It's hopeless. I'm just not good at X, Y, Z. Like that addiction to struggle and to just giving up and feeling of just absolute futility and fatality. And it's amazing the hold that these emotional states can have on you, even as you move into your 40s and your 50s, because you just go into them so much. And we are the curators of our emotional states. Certainly by the time we're adults, we don't have to sit in emotional states anymore that don't serve us. So instead of me sitting in the emotional state of, I might as well just give up, doesn't matter what I do, nothing out there works out for me, like the odds were stacked against me from the start. Oh, I hate just the way that those words affect me. Like, does that cause me to be free and easy in my body and to get some upward direction? No, I just want to pull down and collapse. Okay, that's collapse thinking. Leads to physical collapse, and physical collapse then feeds that emotional state of just giving up and collapse. But I don't have to go there anymore. And I think the thing that helps more than anything else is to let go of self-seeking. So instead of just trying to wrest everything I can from other people in one-off transactions, if I have the attitude of how can I be a blessing to other people? How can I cheer up other people today? Can I smile, say a kind word to someone? Can I help someone? Can I lower the emotional temperature on an argument? How can I be a blessing to other people? How can I help God's kids? That emotional state of discouragement and futility, it just goes away. It's amazing. I can just pray, God, I know that you run the universe, that you're more powerful than I am, and you direct the play that is my life. I'm no longer the director and the actor and the costume designer. You run the show. I just want to execute your commands. And then I can think about saying or doing something. It's like, okay, God, thinking about telling that person, all the, everything that's wrong with them, or I'm thinking of quitting my job, or I'm firing this client, or and then I can just check in with, like, what's my gut reaction when I think about what I want to do. What's my gut reaction? And if my gut starts tightening up, if my stomach starts tightening up, if my neck and back start to tighten and to hurt, then that intuition is a text message from God that probably shouldn't do what I'm thinking about doing. On the other hand, if I have a plan or an idea that I want to execute, when I think about it, I get an increased feeling of ease, comfort. My back unlocks, my breathing frees up. There's a sense of upward direction flowing through my musculature. I let go of lines of worry on my face. Okay, that's probably a good sign, a text message from God that what I'm contemplating doing. Probably a good idea. So basically live my life these days based on what will make me happy. And I know that what will make me happy is following God's will, following the 12 steps. And I just try to avoid situations and people that make me unhappy, that don't bring out the best in me. Another emotional state that I've been addicted to is crumaholic. All I need is just a few crumbs. That's all I deserve. In the past, I've turned down pay raises. It's like, oh no, I'm not worth that much. Like, there's that big part of my psyche that's like, oh no, I'm not worth that much. And then I'd have to beg, borrow, and steal to try to survive. But I wasn't willing to be paid what I was worth, to test what the market would pay. I just had this tremendous feeling that I only deserved crumbs. I only deserved just a few of the good things in life. I was not worthy. And again, it's that self-obsession that kind of feeds that negative feeling of, oh, I'm not worthy, because I'm thinking about my bad points, rather than thinking about, okay, how can I be of service to others? Making more money will enable me to be of more service to others, to take more responsible choices for my life, to invest for my retirement, to get better health care, take some classes, learn some skills, so that I can be more of a blessing to my clients, my community. And then less than-er. There's that emotional state of always feeling less than other people. Like, that is a killer. It's feeling that I'm just not as worthy as other people, that I'm just dirt on someone's shoe, that I'm just not as worthy as this person. I don't deserve to ask that girl out. I don't deserve the good things in life. Then I had this emotional state of wanting to taunt and to tease other people that I really like. Like, when I really like someone, I just want to constantly tease them. It must be a distancing device for me to kind of not have to face how important this person is to my life. Like the pain of that vulnerability, of like how much I treasure this friendship, or this woman, or this community. But this is mainly to do with individuals, like people that I really admire. Like, I admire them so much that it hurts, and I don't think I can handle that. So I've had a lifelong addiction to teasing them. And it starts off lightly and innocuously. Okay, I don't move in with the heavy guns, and go for the really cruel teasing. Just starts off with a little light teasing, but then when I can get away with it, it just gets nastier and nastier. Whoa. I remember once sitting at a table at the Mountaintop Minion at Stephen S. Wise. There were about 5 of us, and we were privileged that Dennis Prager came over to sit at our table for lunch. And I think a word like stupidity came up. And so I said, Dennis, speaking of stupidity, how's your new book on happiness coming along? It was just like incredibly self-defeating. I had so much love for Dennis Prager that I couldn't handle it. I just had to sabotage that relationship. And I remember Dennis was kind of taken aback, and he said, it's the Sabbath, you get free forgiveness on the Sabbath. And I said, I apologize, I shouldn't have said that. And he said, no problem, free forgiveness on the Sabbath. So Dennis was very gracious, but I was blowing up a relationship that was important to me. Another time, someone I worked with, there was a negative article about him in the news, and I just kept hammering on it for weeks. I just kept teasing about it for weeks. And this was someone that I really wanted to be friends with, someone that I actually wanted to work for, and I was addicted to teasing this guy about something that was obviously a very sore spot. And then this happens to me a lot as a consequence. Out of the blue, this guy just blew up at me in front of other people for a trivial remark that I made, and he just tore into me. And boy, I did not like that. And since that conflagration, we've never spoken. Okay, it's been years since then. We've never spoken, and we used to be quite friendly. But I completely blew up that relationship because I have this emotional addiction to teasing in increasingly nasty ways the people I admire most. And I just completely destroyed this friendly acquaintanceship and even the possibility of working for this man. I had a psychiatrist in the year 2000 who saw me for just 3 hours, one-time session, and she noted that Luke doesn't know who he is, so he's constantly seeking feedback, aka narcissistic supply from other people to tell him who he is. And other people inevitably find this exhausting, so that they are all driven to put limits on Luke. And once those limits come down, Luke takes this very badly, and then usually behaves in ways that kind of escalate the problem and destroy the friendship and the relationship. So attention seeking, that's another major emotional state that I've had in my life. It would, in grade school, it would mean like making a lot of rude noises, and until the girls around me would Jeannie, 6th grade, raising her hand and saying to the teacher, could you please ask Luke to control himself? Or other times, like, the girls would just start crying because I was like attention-seeking, teasing just so much that they just ended up crying. I think this one woman I was in a class with, she was 3 years ahead of me in high school, And she told someone years later that nobody knew what to do with him. He was just, we didn't know what to do with his brain. He was just like constantly provoking, and nobody knew what to do with him. And so yeah, that's an addiction to attention seeking. It's an addiction to having other people to set boundaries on me, because I didn't have the internal strength to monitor myself. So when I get to know people, I'd start slowly testing them, find out what the boundaries were, because I didn't have the inner strength and sense to determine the boundaries for myself. And so I've gotten into this addiction for just testing people, how much they'll put up with, like finding out what's too far. And then some people have been very nice and said, okay, that's over boundary. And I've gotten the message, and then I've been on good behavior for a few weeks or a few months, go too far once again, and I had a girlfriend who was very good for me and with me in this regard. When I start to get kind of nasty with my teasing, she'd say, don't be a boob. And that didn't crush my spirit, it just reminded me that I was being nasty, and to stop it. And I didn't need to defend myself, or I didn't need to escalate. It was just a very sweet way of calling me on my behavior. Don't be a boob. I mean, yeah, that was excellent. Another time, I had a girlfriend who confided in me all these kind of painful, awkward things from her life. And then, wouldn't you know it, I kind of had this sick feeling when this was happening. I said, I know at some point I'm going to start teasing her about this. And so a few months down the road, I started teasing her about these things that she'd confided in me, and told me they were, very sensitive matters. And I just started like drilling away. People in my past have compared me to a dentist who finds like the sore spot in someone's tooth and then just starts drilling, like the sadistic dentist in that movie Marathon Man. And I found on my own power, no matter how much I resolved to never tease someone over some painful revelation that they confided in me, that I was never able to fully stop myself. That my own power, my own willpower, my own sense of decency and decorum was not enough. I needed God's help. I had this girlfriend who confided in me some very embarrassing experiences, and she says, if you want to know how to make me cry, just bring up this experience. And after a month or so, I started bringing up this experience, and she started crying, and she broke up with me. And she was a beautiful young woman. She was like 15 years my junior. She was beautiful, she was sweet, she was intelligent, articulate, well-read, many wonderful qualities, but I couldn't resist starting to tease her on something she told me would make her cry. I remember in 4th grade or 5th grade, there was this girl who liked me, and so I responded by putting tacks sharp side up on her chair. And she'd sit on them, and it'd be immensely painful, of course. And when that wasn't sufficient to keep her away from me, there was one time I think I kicked her. This was 5th grade. And she said, one day you'll love someone who kicks you too. Whoa. So In the workplace, I've often got into these states where I just try to see how much I can get away with. Like how much I can get away with in not working, in goofing off, in turning in substandard work. And I remember I was working in a radio station, and I used to take a lot of pride in my writing. I was writing a lot of the newscasts, and but inevitably I got lazy and just tried to get away with putting in the least effort possible. And people started talking. It's like, what the hell's happened to the quality of Luke's work? Like, he just doesn't even try anymore. And that's been a lifelong struggle. Just after a certain amount of time in a job, just stop trying. I just try to get away with putting in as little effort as possible. My parents always noticed from a very early age that I'd always try to get away with putting in the least amount of effort possible, that I'd always try to take the easy way out. If I got caught, I'd try to lie my way out of problems. So these are all addictions to certain emotional states and attitudes that have continually tripped me up, destroyed my ability to sustain relationships, destroyed my ability to succeed at work, destroyed my ability to get along happy, harmoniously with other people, to live in community, to build a life. Instead, I was just continually blowing things up. And on my own willpower, I couldn't make it more than a few weeks with trying my best behavior. So, got to admit, converting to Judaism did not fix this problem. It was only when I got into 12-step work, did a thorough step 1, where I looked at how these emotional addictions have placed my life in peril, placed the lives of other people in peril, have kept me mired in poverty and loneliness and despair. And then working all the steps, including a complete and thorough and fearless moral inventory in step 4, cleaning up the wreckage of my past, asking God to take away my character defects, making amends for the horrible things I've done in the past, step 9, maintaining a constant relationship with God. It's only by doing these things that I've managed to receive relief from disabling character defects that left me lonely, isolated, poor, frustrated, despairing. Bye-bye.